Ross described the place as pretty vibrant at the moment. Is that kind of what?
Yeah, no, it is. It's that time of year, isn't it? Like, the sun's still out, and it's the start of footy season, so it's really exciting. Long, hard summer, and they don't get any easier. This one was a really tough one, and just round one was about. We had a nice win, and it's a bit of a strange situation having a week off now, but yeah, it's probably not the worst thing. It was a tough game, and I'll be ready for next week in Bulldogs.
So the players kind of now think it's maybe a good thing in the end, given how hard that game was?
Yeah, it was always a tough game. Derbies are always tough, and round one games are always tough. So yeah, it's a sort of a strange way to start the season, but yeah, we'll take it as it comes, and gives us a good chance to sit down and watch the Bulldogs on the weekend. Sometimes you don't get a chance to sit down and watch a whole game live like that because you're playing or preparing for a game. So it's a good chance for us to sit down, analyse the Bulldogs, and then start to dissect them next week. So,
what do you do this week training-wise to sort of maintain?
Yeah, well, we'll have a pretty tough session today, I would assume, and then another session on Saturday. So yeah, it's a good chance to get another lot of training volume in, and then freshen up for next week. So yeah.
Brian, after the game, Michael Barlow talked about Fremantle football first. Can you explain to the layperson what Fremantle football is?
Yeah, well, I think it's more just he's talking about the effort that we bring and the way we adhere to our structures. I think early days in the game we were a little bit off, and just as the game went on, just because our effort was there after a while, it sort of just showed, and so that's what Ross always talks about, just bringing that effort and that competitive nature to the game. That's the thing that we sort of concentrate on the most. So yeah.
Derbies historically have tended to take a toll on both clubs and their efforts the following week.
Yeah.
Haven't been that great.
Yeah.
Does this give you a chance to reset a little bit before you hit the Bulldogs in Melbourne?
Yeah, well, I sort of alluded to that a little bit before. You are right. Sort of in the past, we have maybe struggled the week after, and the Eagles might have struggled. But I think last year we showed that things that we might have struggled with in the past, we've sort of overcome, like travel and these sorts of things. So we're hoping this year that things in the past that we may have struggled with that we'll be able to overcome. Having the weekend off this week is something that's new and it's a bit different. It's almost like we start again next week. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't have any impact. Yeah.
Teams can set patterns for the year early on in the year, so it's important to get an away win early on in the year to reset that pattern that you are a good team away from home.
Yeah, we've spoken about sort of any time, anywhere team, so it won't matter whether we're playing at Etihad or playing in Darwin or playing in Tasmania. We want to go and try and win everywhere. If we're going to be a good team, we've got to learn to win in Melbourne. So I think last year we sort of dispelled a few of those myths that we're sort of just an at-home team, and yeah, we'll look to go to Etihad and get the win.
You did a great job on the weekend, shutting down Shuey. How much, when you're tagging someone, how much is it physical and how much is it mental for you as a tag?
For me, yeah, it's a pretty stressful way to live being a tagger. I find out sort of pretty early in the week who I'm going to play on, and then there's a lot of preparation that goes into sort of working out how that guy plays and like how I'm going to play against him, and there's a lot of nerves going into a game, and sort of just that fear of like what happens if he gets away from me, or what happens if he starts well, and what happens if he kicks a goal. So there's a lot of mental preparation that goes into that as well, and sort of a lot of mental imagery and sort of focusing, just sort of thinking about what's going to be my response if he does get away from me, and that sort of thing. So yeah.
So you have nerves just like any other player?
Oh, mate, I reckon I have more nerves. I'm going grey, so the boys keep telling me. Yeah, it's very stressful, and because you're usually playing on one of the opposition's best players week in, week out, and there's a good chance that he could pull your pants down, you know. So there's that fear of failure, and I almost sometimes get physically sick before games, but yeah. So.
And do you know who it's going to be? I mean, you said before that Ross doesn't tell you to the last minute.
Yeah.
You probably would have an idea, wouldn't you?
You can usually narrow it down to one or two guys, and some guys that I've played in the past, it becomes, you know, like I play a guy every time we play sometimes. So I can usually pick it, but sometimes Ross will throw a curly one at me, yeah.
So you've got a while to think about the Bulldogs because Matthew Boyd's not playing as
yeah,
well.
No
so.
Boyd, yeah. So that narrows it down a little bit. I won't say who I think it's going to be, but I think it might be pretty obvious, yeah.
When you study them, what are you studying? Are you studying running patterns or how they set up?
Yeah, we look at, especially with Brett here this year, Brett Kirk. He's fantastic, and he's come from doing a role that come from doing that role at Sydney, and he was probably one of the best at it, you know. So he looks at things on a different level again, and we check out everything like kicking efficiency when they win and when they lose, and like how many kicks they have when they win and lose, contested possessions, uncontested possessions. We try and work out ways that I could cut them out and maybe cut them down a few here and there. And he's been great for me since he's been here. He's the way he looks at football is just completely different than the way I've ever looked at it before. So he's it's been good to get that side of it. Yeah.
You were the subject of a Gary Ablett tweet early last year. Did that upset you?
No, it didn't upset me. Got me a few extra Twitter followers. So I was going to send Gaz a thank you, but I didn't really pay too much attention to it. He's got his own opinion, and so do I.
But you're starting to be recognised as one of the best run-with players in the competition. Is it nice to have that recognition? Dermot Brereton even said on the weekend you're a fair player.
Yeah. Well, no, I suppose it is nice. It is nice, but like we're just trying to move forward as a team. I haven't really listened too much about that sort of stuff, but it is kind of nice. Yeah.
Are you a verbal player at all? Do you like to tactically get in the opposition's head with words?
Yeah, I think most of the boys would know I'm sort of a bit of an extroverted guy, so naturally I talk a bit on the field and talk to my teammates and my opposition a little bit. Yeah.
You played a defensive forward role, I think, in Harvey's last year. Is the run with, do you think, your best role in footy?
Yeah, no, definitely. I struggled to. It's a really tough role to play, and I'll take my hat off to a guy like Matty De Boer to play it week in, week out. It's really, really tough to maintain form, and it's a really, really hard position to play. And I really take my hat off to him. He works so hard for the team, and it's a really unheralded role. I enjoy playing up the field as a midfielder. I was drafted as a midfielder, played my whole life as a midfielder, and that was where I wanted to play. And it's been good being in there with young guys like Hilly and Nat Fyfe and these guys, and just watching them grow. And I've just enjoyed being up the field. My tank's my best attribute, so if I can use that up the field, that's where I want to be.
Ross was talking on radio earlier this week, and he said you still have upside. There's still parts of the game he thinks you can get better at. Spoke to Cameron Ling about you too. He said the same thing. What are those areas you think?
No, totally, and that's something I'm working on with Brett. Obviously, I'd like to win a little bit more ball than what I do, and we're working on ways that I can do that. But then, like always, my skills are a constant source of trying to get better, and that's one side of the game I feel I can get better. Also, my body work around the ground. Sometimes when I get tired, my body work goes away a bit. There's a number of things that me and the coaching staff are sort of working on. I feel like there's plenty of upside. Yeah.
You mentioned your tank as your major attribute. How fit are you, say, compared to how you've been over the course of your career?
Yeah. Well, I had a pretty interrupted January, sort of late December and January, but because it was sort of an upper body injury, I was able to run just as much as normal. The last couple of years are probably the fittest I've been in my whole career, which is good. Obviously, dropping the weight helped, and it's as fit as I've been probably. Yeah.
Did you ever think a couple of years ago, before you started this tagging role, that your career was almost coming to an end, or did you think that you needed a new?
Yeah, well, I always was confident that I could turn it around, but it felt like there was almost not becoming a role for me in the team. If I wasn't playing up in midfield, it was going to be tough for me to sit around playing defensive forward for 3 or 4 years, and it's not sort of a role you can stay in for a long time. So I was always confident that I could turn it around, but I wasn't. There's always that little bit of doubt, like you start to doubt yourself, and I'm happy now. So.